Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Danter Banter. How's everybody doing tonight? I got Tim Danter in the house, Miss Candace Mountain down below, in the square right down below, and over to this side is
Other
the
way.
freaking Oracle. Did I do it wrong?
Yeah, it's the other corner. That one. Yeah, down there. There you go.
There. How's everybody doing tonight? I know Jason Spooner's in the house because he said he was first. Ryan should be here any second. He's got some camera troubles. Sandra B., how are you tonight? How's everybody doing? I feel like I haven't seen anybody in weeks. I haven't even caught any of the freaking Oracle show. I haven't seen any Mountain Finance. I didn't even really realize how bad the stock market has gotten until tonight when I was, oh, shoot, I should look and see what's going on. So what's happening?
In my case, I've been offline for days due to the big storm in Ottawa. It was actually really funny. I'll tell you the story. I was in the basement and I got the emergency alert. I was like, oh, and it basically says seek shelter immediately. I'm like, really? For a thunderstorm? So I went upstairs and I'm looking at it and the sky got really, really dark. Then in a matter of a second, I just saw everything that was nothing but water going right across my window. I could see nothing. And then a second later, it was gone. And across the street, the entire person's fence was all taken out by a tree. There was another giant tree here and another one here. It was an absolute catastrophe. And then, of course, the power went out for like 48 hours. And then the internet went out.
That's crazy.
It came back briefly, and now it's out again, but I'm using my phone. So we're all good.
Oh my gosh, Candace. So, okay, let's circle back to Ken, because Ken, you were in the Sarnia area. Were you affected by that storm that came across?
No, we just got really strong winds and rain. It kind of, the momentum, I think, started here at the river. And as it swept across, I think that's when it really started picking up, because I know London got hammered hard.
Yeah.
One thing I
will add as well is there was a lot of thunder and lightning happening at the same time, but I couldn't hear any of it because the wind was that loud. It was pretty much like standing next to a train going by.
Yeah, I was down in London today all day, and it wasn't, compared to what we got whacked up in Kitchener, it wasn't, or when we were up in Kitchener, it wasn't anything like we got hit in Kitchener.
Yeah.
It was brutal. Like,
it
was that crazy thing where you see in the distance the black clouds coming and it's still sunny and everything here, and then all of a sudden the power went out and it's like sunny here, and it's like, uh-oh, where's the flying cow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting.
Go ahead, Candace.
I was just going to say I'm very close to Hunt Club where the towers are. Yeah. And these are metal towers that wind alone was able to mangle 4 of them. It was just amazing.
That storm picked up speed as it went down your way. Like, it was really bad for us, but it was the funniest thing because it was full sunshine. I pulled my car into a parking lot because we're moving. So I had a store credit for a men's store near our house. And I thought, oh, I better go use this because I don't know when I'll be back up in Kitchener after that weekend. And it was sunshiny and there wasn't a cloud in the sky, nothing. I walked into the men's store and I got help right away. I was really zippy. I was picking stuff out. And then I'm like, oh, I don't know Wesley's size because it's his birthday coming up. So I thought I'll just get him some stuff. So I'm messaging him, no answer. So then I call Tim. Tim's like, I can't talk. All hell's breaking loose. And I'm like, I said, I just need to know what Wes's dress, like shirt, like pant size is. So he tells me, and he goes, and he hangs up on me. And I'm thinking, I don't know what I thought was going on, but a storm was not in my realm of thinking. So I've got all these visions of other things in my mind. I go running out the store and I stop and I'm like looking, I'm like, oh man, it's dark out here. And I get in the car and I was literally really close to home. By the time I rounded the corner, there was things flying through the sky. And then I'm like, because we had on our driveway, we had things in piles. This was going to the dump. This was going to Goodwill. This was going to the new place. This was going to storage. This was going to my girlfriend's place. This is going to the cottage. We had them all in piles. So Tim knew how how to load the truck. So I didn't realize when he said, "All hell's breaking loose here," I didn't realize he's out there taking everything we lovingly put into piles and was throwing it into trucks.
If you would have left it, you would have just been giving it to your neighbor, right? So,
Now, are you guys at all?
Their
Are
place
you guys
got
at all close to
destroyed.
Uxbridge? Because they actually, in addition to that, they had an F2 tornado in the middle of it.
Yeah. No,
Hey,
we're not near Uxbridge.
a day or two ago from here, 20 kilometers away, there was an earthquake.
What?
But that's
Google it.
mild. That's minor stuff
Google it.
compared to this.
Google it. In Corunna, Ontario, there was an earthquake. It was either yesterday or the day before.
In where?
Corunna.
Is that like the virus, Corona?
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
No, Corunna, Ontario.
Okay.
Well, so anyways, it was just pretty crazy. So can you imagine there's going to every situation, there's people that are profiting from it, and then there's people that are going to suffer from it. So you got the insurance companies are going to be deluged with claims. Think about that one. All kinds of claims, crazy claims.
Oh yeah.
And yet there's going to be all sorts of businesses that are going to really, really, really prosper. Like you think if you were an arborist, you've got work galore for several weeks now.
People don't leave you alone.
Let me throw this at you. A lot of people, because of the length of the actual outage, lost all their food. And with the prices of food right now, with inflation, these are people who, if they didn't have emergency funds, they're pretty much screwed.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh.
Yep.
And Zach Chapman says, "Oh wow, I have family in Corunna. I had no clue." Anyways, Jason was in Whitby, about 20 minutes from Uxbridge. I wonder if he must have felt the effects of that. It was shocking. It was shocking when we left Kitchener. So our neighbors who we lived on their property with them, they had a full tree, root ball and everything go down. One in the front go down. The big giant, like old willow tree snapped in half, and like half. So not
Top, was it top half or
no, it went right down the center of it. And
that was probably a lightning strike.
That was probably, I was just about to say, that's more lightning than anything.
Because yeah, some of them I know were taken down by lightning. Now on my block alone, we had 6 trees come down.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we drove back to Oakville. It was funny. It was hard to figure out what the path of the storm was, because when you went through Guelph, everything was, you could see the line of trees that had fallen, the poles that were over. But then you got down through Burlington, hardly anything. But then you got down further in Oakville and more down trees. So it made no sense to me how this storm moved through.
Yeah, well,
so it's funny, Ken, you didn't have anything. There was a lot of porta potties. Remember the porta potties we drove by? All tossed over and mangled. And I thought, oh.
All of mine so far were not knocked over or anything because I stake mine down proper. Can't say that for the rest of the crew at work. I can only say that about my toilets. So,
yeah. Marie Claude is saying that there's a lot of people in Quebec still without power today, probably not before the weekend, and no water.
That's
crazy. I feel bad for those folks.
That's
nuts.
Now,
one saving grace in my situation, I did have water still. So that made it a little bit easier. And hot water. Hot water.
This should be a calling for us to take our electric grid and whatnot and put it underground, really.
Actually, I saw something in the news. A lot of people are saying we should be doing that here. And I agree. I mean, you take, if you go to Calgary, for example, you'll never see telephone poles because it's all underground. And that's part of it. It's because they're in what's known as Hailstone Alley. So they get a lot of wind and weather phenomenon there. So it's much safer to have it all underground. So we should do that here.
The cost to do that would be astronomical.
Yeah, but if they start now, they can have it completed in about 300 years.
But I mean, look at it this way. If we keep having, I mean, with climate change energizing a lot of these storms, all of these once in a lifetime storms, it seems like we're getting them every year.
Yeah, and the cost
So
of cleanup, why not put it into creating your
why not just
infrastructure?
invest that money and save yourself all of the costs down the road?
Well, this is where I was talking to a client today, and I said, at what point are we going to start to hear of people who, and this was out in the London area, that are becoming more self-sufficient, where they're making, I don't know this gentleman and what that says, so I'm sorry,
Tim,
sir.
just leave it. Keep going.
You don't know what that says.
Just keep going.
That are become self-sufficient, make the deals with the farmers and the co-ops, have the backup generators, live on water, don't have to worry about electricity for sewage or for whatever the case is. It's possible. At some point, money only goes so far to protect you against, one of these events. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, maybe what they should do is make a plan so when they've got. Now, where did Tim go?
I do not know.
I don't know, but Ryan's in the house.
Yo.
It's like we're playing musical chairs.
There we go. Tim was gone. Now he's back. We thought maybe you swapped out for Ryan. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Okay.
We were just talking about the crazy storm system that went
Yeah,
through.
that was crazy.
So some people were saying, well, maybe we should start putting all the power lines, power underground, and it's not a bad idea. Maybe what they should do is, as they're putting in new water pipes and stuff like that, they've already got the ground dug up. Could they not run it in conduits?
Oh yeah, I want my water next to my hydro. That's a real charge.
Tim,
you don't do that, hon. You put water further down underground so it doesn't freeze. You don't want your shit freezing. No pun intended.
I'm not an engineer. I really don't know how any of this stuff works. But if they've got the stuff dug up, throw everything you're going to put underground in at the same time.
You don't want that thing rupturing above or below a hydro line.
Then put it above.
You're killing her vibe right now.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
exactly
I think you need to keep them fairly separate. I mean, if you got an idiot who comes along and starts digging and they go through both a water line and a power line, they're probably not going to be able to do it again.
There's got to be a cost-effective way to do it.
Well, you probably want to look at like Alberta and how they do it and sort of follow their model because it works really well out there.
What do we do differently?
You put everything underground.
All your lines are underground.
You know what's weird? I have literally never noticed it once since I've been here.
Get up and go and look and see if there's power lines out your window. Seriously.
No, I mean, you're right. Like, because all there is light posts that feed into the grid. That's it. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I've never noticed that.
That's what I have in my neighborhood. It's just light posts coming out. Everything else is underground.
Yeah, it's the generators, though, and the transformers you can't protect unless they're underground, but then they fill up with water and then you're pooched anyway.
No, they normally put
we're back to the water thing again.
They put in Sarnia here, most of the generators are inside makeshift houses.
You mean the transformers?
Yeah. They're inside a building that looks like a house.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, we got them here too.
Mm-hmm. So if they keep up with that kind of stuff, that'll help our infrastructure, protect it a bit. Yeah. Oh, that writing that was sent there by Safara or whatever.
Yeah.
Amphil, salam.
So it means hi, right?
Yeah.
How do you know?
I've heard it before.
I got skills.
I was going to say, did you Google it?
Are they multiplying?
I have the skill of Google.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Safia, welcome. Hello to you. There you go. So
or salam. That's
salam.
The word. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about where things are at from in the economy because I haven't seen you guys in a couple of weeks and been traveling like a lunatic. Last week I was in Montreal, and did any of you see my Facebook post? Because you're all my friends on Facebook. Did you get to see what I tried in Montreal? First time ever.
The taco?
Yes.
I saw the picture of the taco.
Did you know what it was?
No.
It wasn't Taco Bell.
It was not. It was, so again, I'm in Quebec, and this was from the Gaspé region. It's a delicacy from the Gaspé region. Well, maybe not a delicacy to us, because we've certainly never had it, but I got to experience seal meat.
Whoa. What did it taste like?
Beef. Tasted just
Really?
like beef. And the first bite, I'm thinking to myself, all I could taste was the corn tortilla. I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting, but I'm like, oh, I got a big mouthful of corn tortilla. Then I got through the corn
That might be
tortilla
why they
part.
call female seals cow.
Yeah. It came with seaweed and like sea asparagus, and it was really tasty. It tasted like beef. Seal done two ways. It was like pulled beef and then like a little piece of steak kind of thing. You could try it two different ways. And so our corporate chef, that was what they were featuring at the show as you know, and I figured if they're going to take their pelts, you might as well use the meat too. Like if you're going to harvest something, use it all. That's
Well,
my opinion.
Eskimos eat it, right? They've been eating it for hundreds of years. So, and I think they eat it raw, right? So the fact that you have it cooked.
And it sounds like you like it. I guess it got your seal of approval.
Ooh,
It did. I did like
nice.
it. I was very pleased with myself that I tried it. There used to be a chef that worked with me when I worked at the restaurant. He was one of our he would develop all the recipes, and one of the things, like I used to work for Milestones, and so they had these menu developers, and he was one of them. And I remember him because I would go to the back of the house and I was sort of their target market. And he would come over and he'd say, "Hey, try this." And I would immediately go, "Well, what is it?" And before I'd try anything, "What is it?" And he'd say, "Would you just try it? And then I will tell you what it is." And I'm like, "I don't know. There's things I don't like." And he goes, "Really? How do you know you don't like it? Because you've never tried it, because you've just got a perception in your head." Anyways, he really taught me how to have the experience of it, and then decide if I like it or don't like it. So that's how I learned to eat olives. I never liked olives before he started having me eat them where it was incorporated in other things. So anyways, now I'm very adventurous in food.
Nice.
Yeah, so Marie Claude was saying she'd never heard that, and it was even legal to eat seal. Yes, it is. We were featuring it at the food show. So there you go.
Well, at least you're experiencing new foods. You're sort of eating all of the foods now.
Yep. All in.
All right, Cam.
Ken, would you eat seal if it was offered to you?
I'd try it once. I'd try anything once.
Ryan?
So I could say I tried it, right? So.
There you go. Ryan, would you try it if you knew?
If I knew, yeah, I'd eat veal. So if I can eat veal, then I might as well take a bite out of seal. So I might as well. I would try it.
And it was funny because they kept assuring everybody it was neither the young seal or the old seal. They were the middle-aged
right in the middle
seal.
of the prime of his life. Trust me.
I thought, well, are we particular on the age of the seal? But apparently they harvest from the middle of the middle, not the babies and not the old ones.
Less pups this year, I guess.
You got to be lucky then to make it. Oh, the elders, they see who comes and goes.
That's it.
Classic.
That's it. And Candace, would you eat it?
Oh, you had me at steak.
Yeah. Tasted just like steak as far as I was concerned. If he didn't say it, if I never asked, I would have just eaten it and thought it was steak. Tim, would you have eaten it?
Sure, Bert.
Sherbert's good. I like sherbet.
Oh boy. Anyways, so I was in Montreal, got to go, and we had our food show at the at Olympic Stadium, where they held the Expo 76, the big controversial stadium. It was great. And it's Montreal's just such a beautiful city, but man, the traffic there is bad. Whew. Takes you forever to get anywhere there. You just don't go during rush hour. You could be not far from your destination and be in the car forever. So anyways,
you're probably better off to use the metro there.
Yes. Yes. But after food show, I don't feel like walking around. I've been standing on hard concrete ground for hours on end in high heels. Not much fun. But
That's the only place when you're at work when you can get to first base, right?
True, Tim. True. So I didn't say it's not where the Expos played. It was Olympic Stadium. The Expos haven't played
Amazing what you
in
do when you
Montreal.
dangle a little candy out the window, isn't it?
You're making me. I have such a bad guy tonight.
Sauce.
Exactly. So, couple of topics tonight to lob out to the group. Topic number 1. It's a bit controversial, but I wanted to talk about it. And you might not have had any following of it at all, but this Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation, are any of you following what's going on with this thing?
I catch the TikTok clips.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do we think this is going to be the end of the Me Too movement?
No, because in the media today, someone just took John Derringer on Q107 to task for inappropriate stuff, and someone that's News Talk 1010. So 2 females are now calling out 2 other people about their co-host again. So here we go.
Yeah, well, some of the clips are funny. That's about all I'm following it. But regarding if it's the end of Me Too, I agree with Tim. Like, maybe it's going to be toned down a little bit, but
well, I tell you, if me and Natasha ever got divorced and I started dating again, she'd be signing a waiver.
Okay, go pontificate on that one.
Well, you can say something that you may feel is appropriate. They may take it as inappropriate and then file charges against you. Like, you cannot even tell a woman she's beautiful without some woman on this world getting offended by it.
Yeah, that's been around a long time. Do you know, when I worked as the HR manager at the restaurant, I learned a lot about, when it's not sexual harassment, but kind of sexual harassment. I think that was the term. Harassment of any sort. So say we had one guy who used to make the hostesses. I had to call him. I did get really upset with him. He used to get the little hostesses that were in their little itty bitty skirts to come over and help put the chits that come out of the chit machine. He used to say he needed help, and he'd get the girls in the mini skirts to lean across and put the chits up across the window for the chefs. But their backsides, you could see their backsides from I just
that didn't end very well, did it?
That sort of stuff. And it wasn't the girls that were doing it that were upset. It was some of the other workers that were upset about the whole thing. So it doesn't even have to be happening to you personally. If it's happening, somebody can feel offended by that and call sexual harassment. I had to deal with it.
Yep. It's a shame that the world's gone like this, but everybody's boiling it down to the politicians for letting it get as far as it has now. So,
well, we're in a big world of trouble, because now what will happen is, unfortunately, it will end up putting women in the work world back a few notches, because people will be afraid to move women forward.
Did you hear about this? They reversed the law in Canada that you can actually use the being intoxicated and out of control. You can actually use it as a defense now.
You can?
Yeah. So if you get all intoxicated, you're out of control, and you beat somebody up, they can't hold you liable.
Does that work for sexual harassment as well?
I would assume so, because you would be considered out of your mind. Even though you even though you purposely became intoxicated by a drug, substance, alcohol, or whatever. Yeah. Look it up. They reversed it. Yeah. So now you can actually use that. So if you're drinking and driving and you get into an accident, you can use that as an excuse.
Yeah, it was just I literally just Googled it. So the
I was
Supreme
beyond
Court,
my control.
Yeah. So the Supreme Court said that voluntary extreme intoxication is a valid defense in violent crimes, including sexual assault.
Yep.
Wow.
That's Canada.
So in other words, just carry a Mickey with you in case you ever make a mistake, and then drink fast.
So just carry booze 24/7.
Crazy, isn't it? Like,
It's ridiculous.
that law was created originally to protect everybody, and now they've went ahead and they've backstepped it. That's wonder how many people can be let out of prison on that technicality now.
Well,
It's going to be a party.
I imagine the mums that mad are actually madder now.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of MAD because the MAD head organizer, whatever, her son or cousin caused an accident drinking and driving. So I'm kind of like,
That's not her fault.
No, it's not, but representation, right?
No, well, her kid's an idiot. But
Guilty by representation.
I think every parent I'm not a parent. I'm sure every parent out there you can't take responsibility for your kids when they're an adult drinking and driving in the middle of the night. Like, I don't know.
No, that's true. I don't know how old he was when he did it, but that's true.
Well, he was driving drunk, so he must have been old enough to get the booze and own a car.
Or old enough just to get the keys, Rye?
Yeah, true. I mean, 16, maybe. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
So
Okay, so we'll move on from that topic. Next topic I wanted to talk about was inflation. There was my girlfriend who's with me this week. She got an article sent to her saying that we're about 2 more months, and they feel that the experts, I think this came from RBC, this article, is an internal document that says they feel it's going to be 2 more months of high inflation, and then we'll start to see it taper off. I said to her, well, possibly, but we still don't know the outcome of the war on Ukraine. So what are you guys hearing, seeing? Because again, I have not been paying any attention to this for a few weeks, being traveling and work being really busy.
Who wants to go first? All I know, I don't really follow what they're talking about in Canada, but in the States, they released the Fed minutes today, and they don't see inflation going anywhere soon for the next little while, at least. They're going to be doing 0.5 point rate hikes, going up to 2.5%, 3%, and they're open to restrictive policy so I have no idea why Canada could see it going away in a few months. I don't know.
What happens at the end of all of this when, and I use the word we collectively and generally speaking, but we giveth, everything goes up, the wages go up, all of this goes up, we go, and then we can't take it away once things come back. Like, look at the price of gas. As I told you months ago, they're taking us over $2 to get a new baseline and to desensitize us. So when it drops down 2 cents, oh my God, look at the price of gas. It's dropped so much. You idiots. Like, it's only 2 cents, right? Like, at what point does this just hurt us anyway, regardless of whether there's a dark cloud of recession coming and all this and that? At what point does what this is all creating this time around really never recover?
Look at
Well, you see, what ideally I think is going to happen is once the inflation is going up much faster than wages are. So when we do get on the other side of inflation and it comes back down, I think what they're going to do is they're going to meet at a point where it's kind of almost like it was before, maybe a little worse. It usually tends to be a little worse, but it's not going to be a situation where people have high wages and inflation is going to take it all the way back to where it was. It's going to be a new higher normal.
Yeah.
What are we due for that anyway?
Not this high, I don't think. This is ridiculous.
And
every time we go through these.
Doesn't that take the wind out of the sails of the politicians, where they can use it as a platform where we're raising rates or we're raising wages, and all of a sudden now the companies are independently going, "Fuck, we got to do this on our own, man. We can't keep employees." So
I know. I think there's a bit of that, Tim, but I think part of the problem is that the wage increase has now had a trickle down effect. Every time we raise wages, what happens is that's an expense that gets passed on to the consumer. So you're always going to play a catch up game. The second piece to it is when you've raised it this much, people don't have to work as much. And we have a worker crisis in this country, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm not sure how we're going to manage through certain things that we actually need labor for.
This is so cyclical, and it happens every like 20 years. It's classic. People are like, oh, whatever happened to the days when you could work, I don't know, as a Ford line manufacturer, whatever. Your wife didn't have to work. You owned a single house. You were all good. Mm-hmm. These massive inflationary bouts, because it happened in the 70s, it happened in the 80s. What happened afterward? If you survived it, you maintained what you had. But if you didn't have it to begin with, you're definitely not going to get it again. That's why, like, for me going through this, the odds of me buying a house at the outset, very slim as compared to if this didn't happen or I was in the previous cycle. And if I was in the cycle before that, probably would have been 10 times easier for someone on minimum wage to sustain themselves with a 2-bedroom apartment, right? So all they're doing is they're pricing us out of what we used to know into a new normal. So all the goods and services are still going to be there and still available, but they're going to make it seem like it's our choice to cut back when it's not in reality. People are going to be sharing houses. And like, I was looking at this town in Ontario. They were driving down the street. It was in southern Ontario, and there's like tent cities all over the place. And it's like, that looks like America. That's pretty pathetic. It's a totally new norm, and they're pricing people out. Like, there's going to be a lot of poor people. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's
unless UBI comes in.
This is the thing, though. You go down so far down this, every cycle it gets worse and worse and worse to a point where there's just going to be, every cycle you got more people relying on the government, more social this and whatever. It's just that way. Most people, I mean, if it continues to go and go and go, everyone's hand is going to be in the cookie jar at some point, at one point. If you can't afford to survive, you can't afford to survive. It's as simple as that.
Well, this could be this could be a swing to buy bigger houses and have your kids stay at home and work from your house, and everybody puts their money in the pot, pays the bills.
Which is not good, in my opinion. That's not at all right.
Yeah, well, that's a European thing, and it works.
Well, I've had a number of clients that are from India and stuff, and that is their way, and it works quite well for them.
I bet it does, but so should we give up then of home ownership for the average person and say we have to live communal style? Like, that's
are we not looking at that already now, where people can't afford stuff? I mean, the writing's starting to be written on the wall already, Ryan, with out here in Toronto with people not being able to afford stuff. The writing's on the wall. Is it, you know?
That's it. I don't believe, though, that that's something we should say is a really good thing that we're getting to that point, though. Like, just because
it's unfortunate that we're getting to that point, rather.
Like, really unfortunate.
That option is there, right?
Yeah. I'm not knocking at the options there. I'm just like, that's not how I was raised. It's not how I envisioned myself growing up, regardless of how other cultures operate. And India is not even comparable to Canada because of the population density. But like, regardless, let's just assume it's just not how I envisioned it. It's an option, but it ticks me off.
We have zero effect on that.
I mean, one big end effect of all of this is simply that we're sort of pricing out the middle class. So the middle class zone is basically shrinking, and a lot of the bottom part of the middle class are now joining the low class.
Yeah. Right. Agreed. I would say that here's the thing. Tim sent me an article yesterday. I think you sent it to me yesterday, Tim, the one that was about that people are very scared about going into long-term care facilities. They don't want to think about institutional living at all, like retirement homes and long-term care. Of course, that's the sector that I sell to, so I'm very aware of the concerns out there. But what they were talking about was this exact topic for like reinventing or reimagining like community living. I remember watching a movie one time, and I think it was based out of California. And they had almost like, it was an apartment complex, the apartments were all around the outside, and the inside was a courtyard, a shared courtyard, and they had barbecues and all the rest of it, but it wasn't a very tall building. And I think this is sort of the model that they're thinking of going to, where you've got not just older seniors living in there, but you've got some younger families, because it's affordable, but it's an eclectic mix, and that would create a vibrant ecosystem for supporting. So if there, you know, there's older people sitting there in a park-like setting in the interior courtyard, and there's little kids playing in a sandbox, that at least there's somebody watching them. And there's something to be said about this. Like, seniors don't, and maybe I'm more sensitive to this because I feel like I'm getting to this age fast. I don't know that I just want to go into a retirement home and be shut off from the rest of the world at a certain age. I think I'd like to have it where there was younger I don't know. Like, what do you guys think about that? When you get to be that age, are you thinking in your mind, someday I have to go into a retirement facility? Like, are you thinking like that?
Nope. So I probably won't start thinking like that for a while. I hope to God I don't. I mean, hopefully I have kids one day. If I don't, if I'm childless, I mean, I got no options. I'm going to have to go into a retirement home. Hopefully I made bank. Otherwise, I'm going to go into one of these hospital-like retreats that's going to make me, feel brutal. Some of them are so devastatingly bad, it's not even funny. Like, I used to volunteer at one for volunteer hours in high school. Me and my brother used to deliver mail. And it was like, I made me so screwed up, meant like we were out of there after like a shit. I mean, it was it was crazy bad. It was like really bad.
Okay, let's separate out for a second. Retirement and long-term care. Long-term care is a necessity, especially as dementia becomes more and more and more of a problem. Dementia is you have no choice. You have to put people there because their faculties it's not just their faculties that go. They have trouble, like your brain forgets everything, including how to swallow. That becomes dysphagia. How to control your bowels. Like, you wander around at night. You during the day you're one thing, and at night you're something else. Like, we need those long-term care facilities for intensive nursing, round the clock nursing. They're necessary. We can't. I couldn't manage through that. If for a loved one, I couldn't, because you'd be never sleeping. You'd be watching them all the time. Like, it's horrible. But retirement communities can be very vibrant. But what this article was talking about was taking that concept and finding affordable housing, which intermingles retirees with some young families, with some young people like Ryan's age, and making this really holistic ecosystem. So
I imagine that I know that I would probably be a grumpy old man. Like, I don't know. I when I get old, I want to be all quiet on my own, and the last thing I want is like a commune setting. I have no idea. I'm just,
as you get older, you lose patience. And
I could see myself losing patience with young people in my yard.
Young parents.
Yeah. He needs a lawn to yell at the kids to get off.
I would immediately get off my lawn. I'd be Clint Eastwooding it all the way. Just get off my lawn all day. Classic.
Well, I don't know.
I was just making fun. Sorry, Nancy. I wasn't.
No. I'm just trying to dissect this whole thing, because there's value to what the older generation can teach us all, right? Like, they're valuable human beings. They've got lots of wisdom and knowledge, and we don't tap into them. I feel like what I don't want to feel like is discarded. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a give and take balance there, and that maybe being around young folks, my friends who have decided to babysit their grandkids for some of the time, they're so active doing things with their grandkids and running around and all that sort of stuff. And the ones that chose not to, it's amazing how quickly they've aged. Like, aging is one of these things that this is a very depressing topic, but it is a factor that we should be considering, and it has everything to do with why the price of the housing market is so high, because they're all still in play. All those baby boomers are still in play. What happens, seriously, the high end of the baby boomers are now going to be 77 this year. The low end is 57. What happens? The medium age is 65. Think about this. That big bubble of people is moving through. And what's going to happen with those houses? The houses that they're going to covet are going to be bungalows. And what do we see going up? We're seeing all these very big McMansions going up. Who's wanting that stuff down the line? And who's affording it?
That's true. Two toilets that I service are at.
Well, I think too. I think right now a lot of older.
Go, Ken.
No, it's good. It's good. Go ahead, Candace.
Somebody.
Candace, you were just saying something?
Go.
Okay, there must be a time delay, I think.
I think your tether's giving you a time delay.
But what I was going to say is a lot of the older people who are in that baby boomer. Oh, maybe. But I was just going to say people who are older who are in that baby boomer age, a lot of them have already started selling their houses because of where the market is so inflated. They can get a lot of money that they can use to basically have a really good end of life experience.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's the case for a lot of people I know, at least, because at like $3,000 to $10,000 a month to live in some of these nicer places, it's freaking nuts the amount they charge for a community. Well, it's like an old age home, whatever, right? Where they cook their food and all that stuff. My grandmother's, for instance, was mental. I know it's sad because all these seniors work their life to get this money, and it's just like you could pay a mortgage and hire someone for the amount they're spending.
Not so, because well, maybe, but I know that I had a client today who brought their mother home. She's dementia, and they can't leave her alone. So I have to pick and choose when she goes for her sessions and stuff. She's going to Calgary for 3 weeks, and she priced just the 24-hour care for 3 weeks. Just the care for 3 weeks, not a month. 24-hour care, $8,400.
Okay, for sure, but not everyone who's in an old age home even needs care. A lot of them are just
but I'm just saying, if we're trying to equivalate keeping them at home, and if we ever need a break or something like that, it's going to cost a fortune.
Yeah, and I think we just need to make sure we clarify retirement living versus long-term care. It's two different things. That retirement living that's where it's very expensive, and the high-end food and all that sort of stuff. That's where they're choosing. I've sold my house and I want to be free of responsibility and I want to come and go as I please. That's retirement. And then there's the long-term care, which is you need it because you can't care for yourself.
Yeah, my grandma's doing the retirement thing. She sold her house and she's paying $3,500 a month in a retirement condo, but it's just a 2-bedroom apartment. $3,500 a month with 1 meal per day included.
Yeah. As part of your retirement planning, these are some of the things that you have to plan for. Like we all think of retirement as, okay, I'm 65, so I get to stop working now and I'm going to go to Florida and I'm going to ride bicycles and I'm going to play golf and all that sort of stuff. That's one way to look at retirement, but our retirement life spans from 65 all the way to whenever you go to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And that could look all different. And we don't know what ailments, what issues, what things are going to happen. I've had friends recently, and I've had friends falls have been huge. People breaking hips, and then you're really in a mess, like all of these things. it's just something to consider as you're considering your retirement planning and your investments for your future. It's not just about, well, am I going to be able to get a trip to Florida and get out of this freezing cold weather up here in Canada? It's about all of this.
And with the prices of stuff going up all the time, it could price out a lot of those retirees as well in the future.
Yeah.
Or they won't be able to live the retirement that they project in their mind for as long as they assume they could.
My parents are still working, so.
How old are your parents, Candace?
My mom is 72,
Wow.
and my stepdad is like 76.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad, Rob's dad, he had a heart attack on his way home from work at the age of 70. He was a dump truck operator. So
Crazy,
Wow.
crazy.
mm-hmm.
Crazy. I know it's a sad topic, but it is part of investment strategies and inflationary times and discussions and all that sort of stuff, because we have to factor all of these things in when we're thinking about. We just had an announcement that the president of our company is retiring at the end of our fiscal, which is in November. And somebody said, well, he seems really young to be retiring. And I'm like, you retire when you have the money to retire. That's what it comes down to. It's not an age thing. Whenever you have accumulated what you need to live your life how you want to live it for the rest of some people, it could be 70, 75. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, if you had the money to do it and retire right now, would you? I'm going to ask the panel this question, and then anybody in the chat too.
Well, what's the retirement money? I'm not retiring now if all I'm doing is skating by on like 50K a year or something like that. So like, let's say that we have enough wealth or enough in dividends that without working, we're collecting in today's value. So let's forget inflation, yada, yada. Let's say in today's value, we're collecting 150 grand. That's not exorbitant, but it's not low either. If I had a choice and I knew that that was entirely passive income on 150 grand, I would be seriously debating it, knowing that I could just do whatever I wanted forever. But anything less than that, I mean, it wouldn't even be a question for me. But even that number, I'd have to debate it.
Okay, so Ryan would be yes. Ken?
No.
Okay, and we'll come back to why. Candace?
I'm also no. My reasoning is simply that I love what I do, as in, the YouTube and making videos. You give me $10 million, I'll invest it and I'll make YouTube videos about that.
Yeah, Tim Danter?
Are you still working?
Yes, I'm still working.
Then hell yeah. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know that I couldn't. I have to be doing something. You know me. I got to be doing something. So.
Okay, Ken, what's your reasoning? Same as Candace? You like what you're doing?
No, I've just heard too many stories of men being miserable in general because they retire and they have nothing to do.
Yes.
You get bored easily, especially for a guy, because we don't like to shop. And if we do, it's sports cars. It's stuff that you ladies wish we never went and looked at, right? Where you guys can go to the mall and go window shopping and be happy. We got to look at, sports cars and that kind of stuff. Stuff we can't afford in our retirement because we didn't plan for it. We should have bought it before our retirement, but
I was thinking actually while I was outside, I got to change my number. 150 wouldn't be enough. I could sell cars and make more than that. I think if it was $250,000, I would definitely be debating it.
Yeah, but Ryan, what would you do with yourself all day
instead
long?
of working at a job I don't want to go to? I would just work at finding ways to be happy every day because I'm retired in my prime. Like, it wouldn't even be a question. What would I do? Anything I wanted. Like,
I know, but okay.
Like anything.
Let's just wave the magic wand and say it's happened. Tell me.
Immediately, I'm going to go see America. I would spend probably 5 to 10 years traveling. probably create side hustles that don't feel like work to me. I'd probably continue with YouTube stuff. I wouldn't be going to, I wouldn't be going to knock and punch a ticket ever again though. Like, that's what I mean. Not if I have that kind of $250,000 a year forever. No way. I'm on the road. I'm traveling. I'm living my life.
Do you know what's funny? Because we got into this philosophical conversation a while ago, and you start to get good at what you do, and it's like I actually quite like what I do. I haven't liked it the last couple of years with the supply chain challenges. This is a little too much for me. However, I do like what I do. I do like going to food shows and meeting vendors and looking at weird stuff and trying things and going and meeting people and, helping them with their, I like playing with food. It's a lot of fun.
Well, how about this though? Because there's one thing I've realized since going from really enjoying working with people to working with nobody and looking at a laptop 24/7 for my gig, how much of your enjoyment comes from the social aspect? And if you were to remove that, do you even care for your job whatsoever? Like, I mean, and I'm not asking you to answer that question about Gordon or whatever, but like, how much of us enjoy our job because of the people that are actually in that job with us? Because it's usually after your time at a place, you usually don't remember the stories that you got a report done on time. You usually remember the stories with Joe and Jane or whatever, right? I don't know. That's what my experience is. I've always missed the people I've worked with, but I rarely miss the work. That's always, but I don't know. That's just me.
It's funny because that's part of it. I do enjoy spending time with the people I work with. You're right about that. And I do like the various customers, but there's a thrill. Okay, Ryan, there's a thrill when you're in sales. There's a thrill of the hunt and the chase. That is, if you are in sales, you know what I'm talking about. That it's like being a thrill seeker and elsewise, and you crave it and you want to do it, and it's hard to explain. You're an adrenaline junkie to it. It's like a success begets success, and then there's a whole mental thing to it. But I also think it's like learning a craft. Like I'm reading a lot of the comments of people saying, well, I would do something that like a hobby that I really love. It took me a long time to get here, and I'm starting to get good at what I do. I'm good at decision making. I'm good at building teams. I'm a good strategist. Like I feel like I'm getting good at my game. So why would I all of a sudden get to a certain age and go, well, I'm not doing that game anymore? I finally got good at it.
I think maybe to kind of place myself in your situation, I'm struggling to find how to get that same thrill without the ability, without the actionable actually going to work. You know what I mean? So I'm struggling to find it because Nancy, I think even when you were here, I was talking to you how much I miss the friggin' game. And I was even thinking just part-time somewhere, I was debating, do I just go in to snipe some stuff, get the drug fix? Because making a deal is it's euphoric almost, but I get what you mean. That's something I'm struggling with, is finding out how to find that same rush, I guess, of the craft. Yeah, I get
well, and it's the same as Candace. Like she's learning how to get the YouTube going. Once she gets the crank going and she really gets that happening, then do you decide, okay, done now, I'm finished with that. Do you know what I mean? You start getting good at it.
But this is her own business. It's not necessarily, it's not like she's going to work for someone. It's so different. If I was retired, I would always have my own business because that's fun. That doesn't even feel like work. I'd always be I don't look at them as the same, because when Candace, why would she stop? This is fun for her. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the same thing. Like you stop when I'm talking retirement is in stopping everything, whether that's a day job or whether it's a business. Like people, when they retire, they go, oh, I'm finishing everything now. I'm just done. And as to Ken's point, he don't want to, because Ken's going to have an endless YouTube channel.
I'll tell you this, if people like
on
Ken,
a loop, we're going to call him Truman, and he's going to have a little theme song. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. He's going to be,
I'll wear a onesie. It'll be great.
In a bubble. He's going to get on a sailboat and he's going to try to get to the end of the earth and realize it's right there because he's in a...
If Ken and everyone like Ken immediately retired tomorrow, we'd have a massive housing issue. There'd be poop and pee all over job sites. It would be crazy.
Well,
Ken,
listen,
we need you, bud.
I'll tell you how simple my job is, okay? So I go in the morning and I do my walk around in my truck, do all the safety stuff for it, make sure it's all good to go. Then we have a toolbox talk that deals with any kind of safety or issues or anything like that. Then I grab my sheets, and on my sheets has the address and the toilets. And I go and I do that. I drive 80, 90% of the time. I work physically 10 to 20% of the time. I come back to Sarnia. I fuel up. I dump off my sewage. I refill with water. I replenish my toilet paper, my rags, all that kind of stuff. It's a simple job. Why wouldn't I do this until I couldn't do it anymore?
But let's just say you were presenting.
No boss breathing down my neck. I'm my own boss out there. I decide what I do, how I get there, you know.
You listen to really good podcasts and radio and music.
Yeah. Like I have no boss breathing down my neck. It is amazing. Considering the last 9 years, I had a old school Portuguese boss that always breathed down your neck. So,
the old school.
Yeah.
Oh yes, old school's right. Either you do it hard and hurt yourself, or you're not doing it right.
I'll tell you right now, actually, one of the most intense workers I've ever met in my entire life. He was one of my best friends. His name was Eli Lourenco. He was Portuguese. And I'll tell you this, man, we used to dig out doing the service connections for streets back when I was in better health in my early 20s. We would connect the water or the sewer to the new house, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So we're digging this out. I got my shovel. I'm a laborer, right? I'm sweating my you-know-what off here. I'm working. Literally, he's like, "You're an idiot." This is when we just met. "You're an idiot." Like, throws me to the ground, starts shoveling. And he was going about 10 times the speed that I was at my full potential. I'm like, there was a part of me that couldn't even get mad. But anyway, ever since that, I was like, damn, that Portuguese guy can work. But yeah, and his dad was an old school Portuguese too. That was funny.
Marie-Claude has a question for you.
Yeah, because Ken, you can't say there is no point that you would do this for it. Like, I mean, dude, what if you were making $75 an hour on your own business, whatever that business would be, or I was going to say YouTube, but whatever you pick. Candace's, I mean, if she can sustain herself, she will. Like, what if it got to that point, man? You don't have an exit point?
No, not until the union tells me that my contributions don't count anymore.
Yeah, because to Ken's point, I think he's worried, like, do you become irrelevant as a human being?
Mm.
Why don't you build, well, yeah.
Well, see,
People
my
think
father,
differently, and that's all I can say. Yeah.
My father-in-law has been retired for 5 years now, and I don't know what the hell he does with his time. I know he does go and do a bit of golfing, but he's had both knees replaced. So that can be a bit of a struggle, right? So I don't know what the hell he does with his time. Like, really, you know?
But what a sad existence it is to go to work just because you're afraid of being bored at home.
Yeah, but if I enjoy my work, I'm traveling. But
do you enjoy your work more than the free time, the things that you would do with your family? Like, you would just have more time to do those things and money to do it. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, where's the line where it doesn't make sense for you to go to work?
Because people that
think of all the long streams.
You can fall into bad habits and eat wrong. And, you know, a lot of people overeat when they get bored.
You can't tell me that's the reason why you're going to continue your job.
You could end up with poor health because you're not out there working. No, seriously. Like,
right.
you can kind of predict it, but we really can't distinguish it unless we're actually there, right?
Okay, I switching slightly because Ken's got a point on that. Whoops, I meant Eric. I'm sorry. Let me put this one up. Sandra says that would be because we put way too much sense of self into our jobs. I think there's a bit of that, Sandra, but I also think, like to my earlier point, it's taken me a lot of years to get to the point where I'm getting good at this game. And so even if I had a boatload of money, it's kind of nice. Like
if you had a
there's
boatload of money,
thrill.
you'd probably quit Gordon and start your own business and still get the same rush. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm just saying, like, all I'm talking about is, wouldn't everyone with enough money just do their own thing? Maybe that's what I'm trying to say this whole time. I have no idea. Because maybe, like, why punch the clock if you have enough money? You can still get the same rush hustling your own deals. I mean,
Yeah, it's true.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying quit your job and literally do nothing. I just mean you can do your own thing, whatever you want.
Yeah, but see, in my case, I was raised that you work until the day you die.
But you can work for yourself.
Right? So doing what? What am I going to do now? I had a vape business. Government took that away from me.
Well, that was
What am I
still
gonna
a really
do?
valiant effort. Seriously, that business, dude, you obviously showed that you had the ability to do it. It's not easy to do. Like,
No, it's not.
So Eric Mitten says he would be in perfect health if he was retired. He would perfect sleep, perfect diet, exercise every day. How do we feel about that?
yeah, okay, let us know.
You can join the other.
Jason says the same thing. He would be in better health. I would say that they're not altogether wrong. I can't figure out how to fit everything that I'm trying. Time is not my friend most of the time because I'm trying to fit too many things in. So I end up not prioritizing my own self, like meal prep and exercise and all that stuff, because I'm just so busy trying to get so much stuff done. But so they might have a point on that front.
Well, then maybe I would retire, but I would volunteer my services doing this and that and this and that for different charities and stuff. Volunteering my time. That way it keeps me busy.
You could be one of those guys that drives for Meals on Wheels and drives food around to seniors who are not living in.
I used to do driving for Red Cross.
You could take your family on vacation to Brazil for a week. Enjoy
Do I get to leave them there?
And clean up the beaches, bro. There's a million ways to have fun, dude. There's a million ways to have fun and volunteer.
Can I leave them there?
Can you what, sir?
Leave them there.
You can leave them there. Just don't tell anyone.
That would be fun. Hey.
Then see, what I picture for Ken is that he'll be 90 years old. He'll be streaming. He'll feel a heart attack or something come on. And as he's dying on live air, he'll be like, somebody please clip this.
Subscribe.
Clip it.
That's funny. That is really, really funny. So we didn't finish with inflation because we kind of have drifted off and all the rest of it. So Ryan, you think that what you're seeing in the U.S. is all indicating it's going to be a while?
It's not even what I'm seeing today with the Fed minutes were released. So I'm just quoting off of what they said. And they're going to consistently go with the half-point rate hikes and no mention of the 3/4 point. It's still really amazing. We're going to go to 2.5% to 3%, which is a range of neutrality. They said they're completely open, though, to restricting the economic growth. That would mean further rate hikes into 2023, right? So that would mean a really intense interest rate. The fact that they're open to that, being extremely honest, and to me, I was shocked that the markets went up today because it just shows that inflation is going to be an issue that we got to deal with on an ongoing basis, not one that's going to be solved in 2 to 6 months. So when you're saying the Bank of Canada is coming out saying they're seeing the top end of the curve, WTF are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, I know supply and economies are different between Canada. Not you, sorry, I meant Bank of Canada. You know what I mean? But like, I know the economies are different, Canada and the United States. But I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you think of Canada? Like, what do you think of Candace? I know the minutes were released today. I don't really have an opinion. I was just reading.
Yeah, well, I think the reason the market behaved positively to them is that there was no real surprise in the minutes. They didn't show that they were any more hawkish towards what's going on. So that, I think, really, really helped people feel like they've at least got a sense of stability under them. It may be a harder process, but they know what's that?
Yeah. I was going to say, keep in mind, too, when we say the market was positive today, NASDAQ lost 4 points the other day and it was up 1% today. You know what I mean? So it was barely a little tick on the heart monitor. It really was nothing. But,
well,
and in the afterhours,
even if you look at Shopify,
Look at what? Sorry, Candace.
Shopify, did you say?
Shopify had, Snapchat. They had that horrific drop yesterday.
He got killed.
Why was that?
yeah.
Like, what was the rationale behind that?
Amber Heard.
What I heard is that they had when they reported their earnings and they made their predictions for where they thought the company was, they were absolutely completely wrong, and that's kind of what tanked them.
Everything's tanking. Like Nvidia today, though, reported a double beat on the live stream. It was a double beat. They killed it. Okay. Stock goes down 10% just because of the guidance saying that it's probably going to be a bit of a sketchy year, folks. It's like, yeah, we know everyone's saying this forever. Walmart and Coke are dropping off a cliff. It's like, we get it, but it's really juicy to see companies like that just completely dip. Snapchat sucks, but I'm not saying that as a company. I'm saying that as an app. I hate Snapchat in case Mark Lazarick really likes it. I don't know.
He's saying it's lack of advertising dollars for Snapchat.
Oh, okay. Who uses Snapchat? Does anyone in the chat or in the comments actually use Snapchat? Genuinely curious. Genuinely.
What the
No.
heck would you use it for? I don't even know what you'd use it for.
Okay, Mark and you use it to cheat on your spouse. So that's why Snapchat. It's like either for 5-year-old kids with stupid face pictures and stuff, which can be funny, or an adult with Snapchat. You always got to look at it like there's something wrong.
Why? What is the? I don't understand why that would be equated to adults cheating.
No. It's really cartoony. I'm generalizing. Like it's really oriented towards children, like with their snap filters and stuff like that. But the really unique thing that adults take advantage of is that you can send each other pictures and it's deleted with no record of history whatsoever. So it gets kind of used.
Except for one thing. If you're doing something really naughty, the police can still access those pictures. So they're not really gone, just to put that in
but your husband or your wife can't. That's the thing. No, but I'm always very sketched out of like grown adults with like hidden Snapchat on the last page of their phone, you know? It's always sketched out.
Okay, so Snap tagged the market. Yeah.
Now there's one big.
Go ahead.
I was going to say there's one big positive thing in Canada, at least. If you're invested in any of the big 6 banks, they're starting their earnings. And I mentioned this in my Scotiabank video the other day, that Scotiabank possibly had a dividend increase coming today. And they did. So Scotiabank and BMO, the first to report record profits, both have dividend hikes. So if you're invested in any of the big 6 banks, you're probably going to be making a little more money.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think Scotia went from $1 to $1.03. So good.
Exactly.
Yeah, a nice little 3% little hike there.
Nice. Okay, so well, food's still going to be a problem when we talk about inflation. Food's still going to be a problem. Got the avian flu that they're trying to get under control, which is causing the chicken price to go skyrocketing through the roof. There's been a bunch of other things. Frying oil and oil in general is going to cause the cost of things all over the map to go through the roof. I was on a call Tuesday about oil from a big company here in Canada that has slowed down how often we can order, which is a really bad sign because that means that they don't have inventory. And oil is used in manufacturing of a lot of the goods that you consume that you just don't see it. But anytime you read an ingredient label, oil's in a lot of product. You think about how much oil's in baked goods, and in anything. Like oil's used for everything. So
let me show you this picture. Okay, keep talking, but actually relating to food, Nancy, maybe you can help me figure out why this is. My mother sent me a picture of this today, but it's of yesterday. So I guess it's yesterday at the grocery store. This is their frozen food section in Ottawa grocery store, presumably in Canada, Ontario. Those are empty shelves.
That could have been because of the
storm. I was wondering. Is it really that bad? Like, was the storm?
Canada got hit hard, apparently. Canada got hit hard.
Yeah.
Oh, did it?
Apparently.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much I can like. My mom's like, "Oh, the storm's crazy." It's like, okay. But I didn't know if this picture was the food stuff or if the storm was really that bad. Because the videos online didn't it seemed
I
fast.
I had no power for 48 hours, and in addition to that, right now I don't even have the internet.
Oh, you're tethering.
Yes.
Damn, dude.
Right.
What a hero for being here. Data charges. What a hero. So, Candace, what was it like then?
I have infinite data, so.
Okay, what was it like? Was it really, really intense? Like,
Yes, I'll tell you. Basically, I told these guys earlier, but basically, I was in the basement. I got the emergency alert. Never seen one of these before, telling me to get in immediately. So I went upstairs to look. The sky was going darker and darker, and then all of a sudden, it was just a wave of water and noise from the. It sounded like a train going by, and I couldn't see a thing. And the second it was gone, about a minute later, the neighbors, all their fences were destroyed. There were trees knocked over. There was about 6 trees on my block that were all over. Like you couldn't even access the sidewalks. There were giant trees. There was trees on top of people's cars. It was absolute chaos.
did you lose your fridge? Like the contents?
No, luckily the big freezer we had just filled it. Like it was filled to the point that there was just tons of stuff. So we just kept that shut and it stayed cold.
Nice.
We did lose some stuff out of the main fridge though. So there was one bag that went out to the garbage tonight that I think I almost pulled my back out carrying it. But
yeah.
we
I
probably
heard Ottawa might give relief.
yeah,
for
we
food.
probably lost about $100 in food. That's about it.
Yeah.
Which is really good because the big one had almost $500-600 worth of meat in it.
I would say that what you're seeing there, if that's in Canada, I think it's twofold. And Mark Lazarick, if you're still on here, he would know better than I did. If Mark's on here, did we have any service disruptions to Ottawa area the last 3 or 4 days? Because if we did, that meant that the retailers can't get, they probably couldn't get their stocks refilled. They didn't get trucks in there, or they didn't have power and they didn't want food coming in there to then go get spoiled. Like It could be a myriad of reasons. We're not at the point of being in desperation mode yet. Like food's still flowing. The fill rate on our orders is still atrocious. There's still constant communication about what's not available and what's happening with it. Like I try to look, I was going to pull up and see, if you give me just 1 second, I'll see if I can look at last week's weekend report. It just every week it there's so much. Let me just look and see what he said last week.
When are we going to get tiny chicken breasts? Because I want to load up before that. Seriously.
Tiny chicken breasts?
Yeah, it should be happening.
Nancy was going on about tiny chicken breasts like crazy the other week.
Yeah, that's still supply gaps are ongoing and expect to continue for the foreseeable future. We're currently working with one supplier on priority production runs, focusing on our top movers. Demand is still strong because we're seeing shortages from overseas still. That's on chicken. Chicken's a problem because of the avian flu. Avian flu, let me just see what this says. There was a recall with Jif peanut butter. That's another thing. Mm-hmm. So if there isn't a recall, there's strikes going on. So a couple of our major bread suppliers in Canada have been on strike. So their whole facilities are down. It just goes on and it just goes on and on and on and on.
I was dead serious. Is that tiny chicken thing guaranteed to happen? Or is because you've wiped out so many with this flu, or
yeah.
It is? So a few months, or
it's the type of chicken that they have to raise. It's a shorter lifespan to get it into the market quicker. So unfortunately, they grow smaller.
No, I know. I'm just wondering when that's going to happen.
And if you see big breasts in the market, all that means, and if you start to get good at reading the labels, if you get really robust, meaty looking breasts, chances are they're filled with pump. They tumble them in saline and that pumps them up.
Yeah.
So that's when you get a lot of if you buy frozen chicken breasts, like I'm not going to name any companies, but if you go to one of those standalone stores and you buy frozen chicken breasts, or if you're in the grocery store and the chicken breasts come frozen, you should cook them from frozen. Don't de-thaw them. Cook them straight from frozen. If you thaw them out, they'll slough off a whole pile of water and salt.
Nice. I always cook from frozen, and my people used to say that I'm lazy, and I'm like, nope, that's the way that we used to do it in the restaurant. So
yeah, you cook it from
whatever.
frozen. Do not slough that stuff off. It'll release too much. If you buy fresh, you're fine because it is what it is. But if it's frozen, you should cook it from frozen. Just put it right in the pan, put it in the oven, and you'll notice
keeps
a lot
it
of water.
way more moist. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's better. Better. What are you guys up to for the rest of the week? Or sorry, did I just interrupt?
Nope.
Okay.
I was just going to see if there was anything else on this report that was of interest. Bread's problem, I told you guys that, and flour is hard red spring wheat price is 120% higher than it was trading 2 years ago. And the average is 400 basis points higher than the end of March 2022. This crop is also expected to be the lowest it's been since 1963, which has helped contribute to the steep increase in pricing. Manitoba grain planting is only 4% completed, and although we are not sure what is being planted so far, this is not good news for expectations of flour and yeast supply. Yeast pricing has increased 19% on May 8th. So that's just...
Yeah, I read an article that this year is the most expensive year on record for farmers for planting fields and stuff. It's going to pay a big toll on them. So,
yeah. So there's like the baby food thing is a problem still.
Yeah.
We've got all kinds of problems with McCain. We're going to see intermittent outages of McCain product, which affects, and McCain supplies so many French fries to so many operators. And then what you'll see, what it looks like they're low on is anything that is chopped and formed, shredded hash browns, stuff like that is, so you'll start seeing that stuff. Potato shortage, U.S. shortage for potatoes are a problem. This means we'll be prorated on our next PO. So it just like they're rationing what they're giving us. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. So there you go. That's it for supply chain update.
I think it's going to be a fun year. That's what I think. It's going to be a long and it's going to be a very fun year. That's what it's going to be. So let's just all manifest positive energy and go into the remainder of 2022 knowing that we get to partake in these wicked times. Because like Nancy said the other day, and we got to drill it into our heads. If we look back on this year and next year and 5 years from now, we're going to really kick ourselves for not participating. Big time. Big time. Yeah. Whether that's crypto or whatever, stocks, whatever.
You know what's funny is it was I read a meme and it cracked me up. It cracked me up. It was somebody said, "Oh, well, congratulations to those of you that had monkeypox on your disaster bingo card. Looks like you're next up for a bingo." So the monkeypox thing, I know there was a few comments earlier in there. I'm like, what the hell else is next?
I don't even care anymore. I want to Transformers, pox, you name it.
What are you holding out for, Candace?
Squid pox.
Squid pox.
We could do a squid pox. We could do a catfish pox. We could do... I like monkeypox, though, because that one has a bit of exoticness to it, where we do kind of fear it. It's like a monkey. It's not necessarily clean, but you're like, am I afraid of it? I don't know. It's monkeypox. It doesn't sound good.
It's sexually transmitted, so as long as you're not having unprotected sex, you're fine.
Apparently,
hornets are still a
apparently
thing.
it started in the UK in the homosexual community.
Yeah,
That's what
they've
Dr.
given
Dr.
warnings to that
that's what-
community.
That's what Dr. Campbell, the guy who does all the updates on YouTube, has stated.
Yeah. Jason Spooner, I wondered this myself. We've sort of gotten over, everybody's now talking about some other things, but we've never did settle what did happen to the murdering hornets.
They're still around in Ontario, and there's some in Vancouver, and there's some in the States. Big time.
Yeah.
Why did we call them murder hornets? I don't think they can murder people. I think they can hurt us, but isn't it that they kill beehives? Something
That's
like that?
exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Beehives.
They are
And
big
we
enough,
need
though, that
them.
I'd have a heart attack. So
Listen, we need the bees, we need the honeybees to continue to thrive in this country, because if we don't have the honeybees, it severely affects our ability to produce food. It is like that murdering hornet thing could further hamper our supply chain challenges. I'm just saying.
they're like this big, eh?
Yeah, they're
Like
massive.
if one landed on you, it
You'd
would
know it.
screw me up. Like, what if it got you right in the neck? You get the double heart attack and the jugular. The friggin' thing flies away. You're like, oh my god, he got me.
No,
I
it
don't
would
know. I'd
hurt.
have
It
a
would
heart
hurt
attack.
like it would hurt like hell. But as long as you're not allergic to it, you're not going to die.
I'd do two things. I'd pass out and throw up at the same time. They'd find me covered and looking like trash. I would
Probably
know what
crop your pants too, right?
it would.
Okay.
Who knows?
Have you ever seen Michael McIntyre's take? Like, he has got to be one of the funniest guys. Michael McIntyre is a comedian, and he does this thing on bees. And he said, you are either a standstiller, or you're a wafter, or a total panicker.
I'm a photographer when it comes to bees. If I see a bee, I bring out the camera and I'm getting right in its face taking pictures.
I go through all three stages in about 2 seconds, and it depends how close it's getting to my face.
Well,
If it's close, I'm petrified. And I mean like petrified like stone.
Yes. Well, some people believe with every fiber in their being, just don't move. They're not interested in you. They will move away from you. Just don't move. And they will stand there and literally, if you are, I just don't move. They're not interested in me. They could be all over your body, but you sound like you will move into the next stage where you'll become a wafter.
And then I sprint up the road. But if it gets too close to me, I go like this and I look around for someone to get it off me. If the dog's around me, he's going to piss off the bee. So the petrify, I mean, it's fear-based. I'm afraid.
Total panicker.
It's the fear. Yeah.
Ah!
It's like a spider looking at you eye to eye, like when you least expect it. And you're like, what? You don't know who's going to move first. I will actually have a Mexican standoff with a spider in my kitchen for 5 minutes before I figure out that I can't be in the kitchen. And I just have to let it go because I'm not killing it. I can't do it.
The thing about a bee is that if a bee stings you, it actually dies. It only gets to do it once. So you have to be a real threat for it to actually sting you. It's not going to just kamikaze you. Hornets on the other side and wasps, they will go after you. They will chase you for fun.
They have a lot of hornets in Calgary, and those are really lame. Those are really tiny. You can't see them. They got like wings that flap like a hummingbird. It's insane.
All those babies. Those are
like,
babies.
Zzz, zzz, you're like, whoa, like get out of that. Like you get the whole thing. You just can't go outside.
Well, there we go. Right from the mother's mouth. It's a real sight to see when Ryan sees a bug. Thanks,
Petrified.
Christine. We always appreciate your input on this channel. Ken, are you a standstiller, a wafter, or a total panicker?
Oh, I don't even stand still. I just keep doing what I'm doing.
The ball's on you.
Not gonna bug me.
Whoa, nice.
You're like Tim Danter. Tim Danter just goes about his business like, wait, there's a bee here.
Last year in Grand Bend, there was a wolf spider the size of a Bic lighter, a large Bic lighter, in the toilet, like on the side of the toilet. So I'm in there spraying away, going around it and everything. I was like, whatever. Yeah.
How do they get that big inside of your house? Like, where was this? A toilet? Hold on.
It was in the
spider
toilet.
the size
Yeah.
of this
Yeah,
inside of your toilet.
Look it up. Wolf spider. They're
Okay,
in Ontario.
I
look
would
like,
not
but-
sit on one of those toilets again if I even remotely saw.
I would
already
move
had
back
an
to
issue
Ontario
with
if
a
there was a
bat
wolf
in a
spider.
toilet.
What the? Okay. Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
This bat story, the bat story was my girlfriend's cottage. A bat got into the cottage and they looked and looked and looked to try to get the bat out. Nobody could find the damn bat. And in the morning, her dad went in there and sat on the toilet to go to the bathroom for his morning. And all of a sudden, he's sitting there and he feels,
No. No. That's the worst case scenario ever.
Who's getting his balls beaten?
I'm telling you right now, kid,
A ball batter.
I already look about, there's
Ryan.
He's lucky the bat didn't try and hang upside down on him.
there's stories about
Oh.
tortoise, so I always look at night. I'm especially at night. I'm like, I look before I put my bottom down. I sometimes look under
Ryan's
the
gonna
toilet
turn all
seat
the lights on now when
just
he
to
goes to
make
the
sure
washroom at night.
there's no bat in there. And now, if you're telling me there's big ass spiders the size of my cell phone in your toilets, I will. This is another thing that I will be neurosing over.
Yeah, that's an
I wouldn't
immediate
worry
no-go.
about. I wouldn't worry about those spiders though. They have a venom, but it's pretty much about as bad as a bee sting. I'd be worried about something like a little black widow because they can do a little more damage to you.
Okay, Gary, these are just far too much details about this damn spider.
This is the
Wolf
thing. Do we
spiders?
need to describe the fact that it hunts alone, lives in solitude? It's like these are way too descriptive for a spider that's going to scare the hell out of us. And they have excellent eyesight. Agile hunter.
I'll
fuck
see if
that.
I can find the photo. I took a photo. I can't remember if it was my personal phone or my work phone, but
Oh my God.
I'll let you guys
I'm
know
not
if it's
even
in the
kidding.
photo.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
making me. That's making that I'm like dumbfounded by that. First of all, I didn't think we had wolf spiders in Canada, so thank you now for making me think about that. And second of all, if it's in a toilet, yeah, no.
That's the last area on the planet. Okay. That is your most vulnerable state, period, in the day. Pants down, using the toilet. And then you have the devil's dog creeping up your balls. Yeah, no way, dude. No way.
Can you imagine? Seriously, can you imagine? Seriously, you're sitting there, you're not even thinking about it. You're just
be
going about your day.
crying.
You got a coffee in one hand, and all of a sudden you feel something.
I'd be Ace Ventura in the shower with like my clothes burning. I'd be just completely trying to bleach myself off.
Okay. Venom is not especially toxic to humans unless it bites you in the balls. And then I'm thinking those balls will swell. I'm thinking Tim Danter's
Potentially.
not saying a word, but I'm visualizing our poor friend who got stung by a jellyfish that went up his trousers while he was swimming in the ocean. His balls swelled up to 3 times their size. He had to have them in an ice bath. They were
Classic.
that swollen. So I'm not, Gary, I'm just saying it might not be toxic, but if it's stung in that little sensitive sac, I'm thinking it might really hurt.
What's up, Tim?
They'd probably have to put it in a ball's ear.
Exactly. Okay, so now Sophie says spiders. You also got to check the toilets in Florida. Huge palmettos stay there for the water. Okay, what's a palmetto? I'm now got to have a new thing I worry
It's
about.
like a giant roach.
It's a beautiful flower. It just grows there.
What?
I don't know.
It's a giant cockroach. It's a very big cockroach.
Oh,
And it can
sucker.
fly.
Right. Yeah.
It can
It
fly.
can fly.
And it bites?
Yeah. I discovered
can
that
you
cleaning
imagine-
out a shed in Florida. They were flying at me. It was horrifying.
I remember the very first time as a child, because I was shockingly old, where I saw for the first time, okay, it was an ant. We all know what ants are like. They're a ground-bearing creature, okay? Then out of nowhere, this tree starts whatever the hell, ants with wings. I'm like 8. First time I've ever seen this in my life. My mind is blown. We got obliterated at the picnic by ants with wings. You got like anything with wings makes it 100 times worse. It's an insect.
Yeah.
Period.
Flying ants are no joking matter. They are aggressive flying ants.
It makes you wonder, how do you evolve to everyone else of your kind is garbage underground? How do you get to be Sergeant Ant with a pair of wings and you're like patrolling the skies? It's like crazy. Like I have no clue, but they're not small either. Like they're the size of my thumbnail. Like they're freaking huge.
Those big ants with wings are usually queens. It's all about mating. They'll fly up in the air, and then some other ants will fly up and they'll mate in the sky, and then they'll go back. They'll lose their wings and go back into being ground ants again. It's all part of mating.
I want no part of them.
Well, and then Jason Spooner says they might as well call them flying monkeys from Oz, and we're back again to the monkeypox. See how this all just comes around full circle? We're just all over the map.
At least we're not pretending it's a crypto show. At least we're just calling it the Danter banter or whatever.
Well, you know, it'll have a new title as soon as I can figure out another new title. That was all we could come up with in the short term. Anyways, so let's go around and what's everybody up to the rest of this week, and then we will go for a wrap on this. Candace, what do you got coming up? Are you going to be hampered with no internet and no is that going to hamper your production of videos?
Well, I'm not going to let it. I did do a video today, and I spent 2.5 hours using my phone to get it uploaded to YouTube, but I was successful. So tomorrow at 11 a.m., my video on Vanguard's coming out. I'm trying to do a bonus video on Saturday to make up for the one on Monday that was lost, and then next week should be completely back to normal.
Nice. Ken?
Trying to find a spider.
Oh, he's still trying to find that wolf spider?
Don't do it, bud. You'll ruin my night.
I'll find it for the weekend. Anyways, working and then streaming Friday night, Saturday night, maybe Saturday afternoon into Saturday night.
All weekend, basically.
Yeah, when I got time. Well, I got to go visit my grandma this weekend for a bit, so I had to take some time out.
Good. And Ryan, are you still doing what do you got going on?
So this week I changed everything because now that I'm done with the side hustle, I don't need any new cash. Back to YouTube. So Sunday was the first video I put out in like a month and a half. So that video was there. We looked at bear markets going all the way back to 1946 so that we had an idea of how much longer this is going to last. Yesterday's video or Tuesday's video. Yeah, yesterday's video. Videos are only going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays with bonuses whenever. So they can come out whenever, but Tuesdays and Thursdays we're good. So yesterday's video was just for the few people who've been asking what's up with my 3 penny stocks. That's just for a small select group of people. That's done. Tomorrow's video is done. It's actually, and I'll tell you just straight up right now, in my crew, there's going to be a prize for the crew tomorrow. But it's a very inclusive video. It's something I didn't know about. It's about 4 ETFs that have beat the S&P 500 over the last little while, which is hard to do, especially in this downturn market. And they have one thing in common. They're all halal certified. So basically for the Islamic investment community, right? So for Muslim financing, right? So I wanted to kind of integrate that and bring in maybe some Muslim finance stuff to show people that if you had gone the halal route, for instance, you would have significantly beat the S&P 500 right now. And a lot of that is because they don't do any unethical trading. It's all this and that. But I thought it'd be a good way to bring kind of another culture into the investment crew. And I might do halal videos once every now and then because you can't buy, like Coca-Cola is a halal stock. Basically, it just means you can't buy anything that has drugs, alcohol, booze, or pork or gambling. So clean or whatever, right? And it's like, okay, so I thought that was really interesting that I found these 4. One is uniquely available to our crew on Wealthsimple. The other 3, you have to pay American dollar, but one is directly related to our crew. So I thought it was a really good way to like teach the crew about another culture's way of investing, and that other culture's way of investing happened to beat the S&P 500. So I just thought it was a really cool video. It'll be inclusive for a community, hopefully bring in people, everybody be polite. And then for those who share the video, there's going to be a prize because I want to share that kind of different culture. I didn't even know about Islamic investing or the fact that certain stocks had to be halal or whatever. So it's just a new idea. So I just wanted to do a video tomorrow so people will learn a little bit more about that culture and how these ETFs have benefited when we lost, for instance. So anyway, that's tomorrow.
Nice. Tim Danter, you got some dad jokes coming?
Yes.
You've been very quiet tonight. What's going on with you?
Extremely tired.
Yeah, Tim and I are beside ourselves. We are so tired. We've been moving when we're not working full time, traveling every weekend, moving, more moving. We've been downsizing from 800 square feet plus a garden shed, which is where I had my office and there was a storage area, to 545 square feet. So it's been an epic journey.
I had this big shed delivered today that I got to assemble on the weekend.
A shed?
One of the Rubbermaid plastic ones. So I got to put that together. I mean, because
we have nowhere to put a bicycle. Like, where do you put your bicycles? Like, where do you put like a broom, a shovel? Like, we have nowhere. So, anyways, it's been an epic journey. But I'm telling you right now, there's part of when you go through a downsizing like this, you go through a gamut of emotions, like, anger at how much money we've spent on stuff over the years. Stuff. Somehow we accumulate stuff as human beings, and I don't even know what to do with all the stuff. Like, where do you put all the stuff that you accumulate? Like, we have funny little boxes full of pens. Like, I never threw a pen out. You go to a trade show and they give you bags and you got full of pens. What do you do with all these pens? So, I mean, we took so much stuff to Value Village, like office supplies and things, like weird stuff that you think, how did we accumulate this? Where did this come from? And we were already in small space. Like, it's epic to go through this, and it's very cathartic. Anyways, it's very cathartic.
Has this made you want to be
free?
Has this made you want to be more of a minimalist?
I think you could call us that now. Like, when we get done with this, we do have a storage unit, a very small storage unit, and it's got things like the Christmas decorations and Halloween sort of decorations, and it's got boxes of pictures. What do you do with 35 years of boxes of pictures? Like, we went from the era where you had pictures to now everything's digital. Where do you put all this stuff? And then, so I've got to go through it, and maybe I'm going to make a little memory box for Tim and I, and then one for each of the kids. Like, what do you do with all of this? And even when you think about how many pictures we have of Tim's mom and dad, and then their parents and family, people that we don't even know who's in these pictures, and we've got them. Like, so this is going to be of epic proportion for people as they're managing. As I said, this bubble of baby boomers, they're moving through. What do you do with all their stuff? There is big business in managing people's stuff. Anyways.
Yeah, my sister got all the pictures, so I don't care.
Your sister's got them all?
Yep, they're her problem.
Yeah, somebody else's headache.
Yeah.
I own almost nothing, and I am like so minimalist. It's disgusting. You see those pictures on the internet where it's like, how is a guy happy with like a TV on a milk crate and a mattress on the floor? And it's like, literally, that is all I've ever needed, literally, to do whatever the heck I want to do. My life is outside the house. I've often thought if I were to get another place, I'd almost want it to be I don't want to buy all this stuff and own and lug around all this freaking crap. Frig, I like owning nothing when it comes to furniture.
Yeah,
I like
used
items. So this pen, for example, instead of buying a flashlight, I just got a pen that is a flashlight.
Whoa.
You know.
Spy Kids?
Anyways, you know what? It's all what I've learned is you can be creative with your storage solution, storing stuff and making 545 square feet feel comfy and cozy and homey. And Tim, do you feel like you are do you feel like you're at home?
Well, I am at home.
Does it feel like home?
Yeah, it does. Yep, absolutely.
Anyways, I
Does it
just
take the
highly
big
recommend the
storage?
process if you haven't done it, because we carry so much stuff. It's freeing when you get to the other side. But I said to Tim, I feel like a 2-year-old having a temper tantrum. I didn't want to do it anymore last weekend. And then the storm happens. I'm like, yeah, because what do you want to do when you're downsizing and moving and organizing? Let it all be blown to smithereens in a Category 1 hurricane. Like,
Well, we moved from a 5-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom house. We downsized a lot. Like the whole front where the garbage man comes, our whole boulevard was just full of just bags of garbage. We had an extra kitchen table set. We had plastic chairs from the backyard. We had like, oh God, 25 of them because we used to host parties all the time. Yeah, downsizing is not fun.
well, and the next generation doesn't want anything. Like there's Ryan. He's the millennial. Next generation doesn't want anything. So what do you
literally
do?
don't want anything.
I know. What do you do? Well, they don't have a house. They can't afford a house, so
Well,
they're
the
not
beautiful
storing
thing
all
is,
this
though,
stuff.
a traditional landlord gives you an empty shell. My landlord is a millennial. He furnished this place up, and now he's doing that for other units. COVID changed the whole game. I'm going to look for a fully furnished unit for my next rental. Like, I have no intention of spending $15,000 to $20,000 to furnish a 2-bedroom apartment. I'm not doing it. I can spend I'm not doing it. So I'm always going to just, I don't know. And it's a new thing. It's popular in Calgary. I'm sure it's popular in Toronto, Ottawa, whatever. But like fully furnished is big, especially now. Like, what do you call it? Staging companies in Calgary were even advertising this for rentals, like to stage it with whatever style, and they just sell the stage, right? And it's like they'll just repeat it, and then you increase your rent or whatever the hell. And it's like all day, every day. Mark my words. I spent like $8,000 furnishing my living room in my last 2-bedroom apartment. That's it, by the way, my living room. Okay. And I don't have the furniture anymore. It was IKEA. It wore it. I'm not doing it. I'm totally not doing it anymore. I feel just as much at home with, I don't know. I hope to be minimalist forever. Like if I packed up and left tomorrow, there'd be 3 boxes in the back of my truck, a dog cage, and then Eddie in my truck. That's it. I'd be ready to rock. I kind of like it that way.
Yeah. Well, Tim Danter and I have been at this game. Will be our 4th week of renting a truck and moving because we couldn't do it all at once because we're going so small. You have to do it in stages. It's been horrible, but we're almost on the other side. So that's why you haven't seen much of us. We're working like crazy people and then moving in between, but we're almost on the other side. So thank you everybody for coming tonight. We hope that
Can I just address
you'll
this?
join us.
Can I address this really quick? Because I get 1,000 questions. Had a guy who's going to pay me more than I could ever imagine flake out on me. So I'm not letting it go. I'm not desperate to sell my truck. But if someone comes at me with that price again, I'm going to let it go in a heartbeat. The guy flaked out on me. Sorry. I had to say that because I've literally been asked that like 80 times. So there. Solved.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you guys next week for more fun census. CENTS us. Anyways, we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.